The Cotswolds, a unique area of southwest England full of gorgeous countryside with the most spectacular views.
Oh, look at this.
But I would say that I live here.
This is the life.
I'm poet Pam Ayres.
Oh, it's so nice to be back.
And in this new series, I'm discovering more delights in my lush part of the world.
Just look at this.
Oh, gosh. It's fit for a prince, I would say.
You're a genius.
I can't deny it.
But this time I'm heading further afield too, to discover amazing places.
Look, it's awesome, isn't it? Absolutely spectacular. Look at the colours.
And fascinating stories just beyond the Cotswolds borders.
This is what he actually looked like. Gosh.
The only reason it's here is because your ancestors looked after it for 3,000 years.
So join me as I make new friends
Well, welcome to Longleat House.
who are passionate about the places they call home.
Come in, darling.
It's
You know
very
you'll-
inviting.
Yeah, you'll like it.
À votre santé.
I don't know what that means.
You might just recognise a few of them.
This is the place I first heard the Beatles.
Cheers. Cheers, Malvern.
Today I'm given a 5-star culinary treat by Raymond Blanc himself.
Voilà.
Oh, it's lovely. It's really lovely.
Sois pas de test, ça manquait.
I get to grips with Shakespeare and a precious historic book worth millions of pounds.
Without the first folio, we wouldn't have any evidence of 18 of Shakespeare's plays.
Almost nervous of touching it.
And at their former Cotswold home, I discover the scandalous high society lives of the Mitford sisters.
Unity was a close friend of Adolf Hitler. Jessica became a communist. I mean, this family, you cannot make it up.
From smart country retreats to top-rated restaurants, the Cotswolds are famed for their exclusive 5-star getaways. And every year, the area's a magnet for pleasure seekers and the rich and famous. I'm heading to a beautiful hotel at Great Milton in Oxfordshire to meet a renowned French chef who's been awarded 2 Michelin stars and who has made this wonderful, rambling old house his home.
When I cook, I try to keep things very simple because I'm not very good at fancy stuff. You know, I've tried to do fancy dinner parties and I finish up jumping from one leg to the other in the kitchen, bathed in sweat and wishing that I'd never thought of a stupid idea. However, I have come today to a place, and I'll tell you the name in my best Berkshire French, Le Manoir à Quatre Saisons, where they know all about that kind of thing, and I'm hoping to enhance my culinary skills.
What do you think? Tiens, bit more, hein? Tiens, bit more.
Chef patron Raymond Blanc, OBE, is an absolute gastronomic icon.
Always build your flavors, hein? Yeah.
He's been revolutionising British cooking since the 70s and has taught famous chefs like Marco Pierre White and Heston Blumenthal and many others.
Voilà, très bien. That's ready.
Not bad for someone who taught himself to cook at the age of 18.
Oh, this is so beautiful. The Swan has signets as well. How lovely.
Yes.
Raymond's groundbreaking restaurant is at the heart of Le Manoir. Alongside it is a luxurious hotel and his great passion, the gorgeous gardens where he lets his imagination run wild.
You always think of your guests, creating a story, creating a new experience for your guests all the time.
Yes.
Over the past 40 years, he's created 12 exquisite gardens, which not only please the eye, but also provide the produce for his delicious dishes. Raymond, it's so lovely to be here, and I would like to know why you like cookery and why you're so phenomenally good at it.
I think it's a bit of an heritage from my own culture. We were a working class family, we were 7 of us.
7 children.
Okay, so the first thing my father did was he built a huge garden, about half of the size of Le Manoir. So
That
a big
is
garden
huge.
which would feed a family all year round. And I know because As a child, from the age of 6, I would go in the garden and help my papa.
Yes.
It was the greatest learning, I could possibly given to understand the miracle of that little seed, the beautiful food it will grow.
Yeah. I'm one of 6 children. I'm the youngest of 6,
Yeah.
and my dad worked for the electricity board. Every night when he came home in the week, he'd get on his bike and he would go and do two huge allotments. So it's, it sounds familiar to me what you're saying.
Well, your papa was obviously a great gardener.
Yeah, he was
to
a
start
good
with,
egg.
yeah.
And it's not just the principle of grow your own food that Raymond and I share.
My mama taught me
shall
no
not-
waste.
No waste.
Zero
no.
waste.
We were the same.
Yeah.
We had chickens, so anything we didn't eat, all the potato peelings and carrot
Yeah.
peelings and all that, the chickens got it every morning,
Yeah.
so nothing was wasted.
My mum didn't give the peeling to the chickens, she gave it to us.
Oh, did you?
Absolutely. And you try it, a little bit of olive oil, stir fry it.
Now I feel cheated. Our chickens got the potato peelings.
Exactly.
Only Raymond Blanc could turn a potato peeling into a gourmet treat. And I want to find out more about where he gets his culinary inspiration from. Will you
Yeah.
give me a guided tour, please?
Definitely.
The gardens of Le Manoir are tended to perfection, and growing here are 80 types of vegetable and over 150 different varieties, all key ingredients behind Raymond's fabulous food.
This garden means everything for me and for all of us at Le Manoir, because it's a foundation of my gastronomy. It's a canvas on which I grow my food, the most extraordinary food grown organically without a single chemical.
Now, I would very much like to try some of your lovely produce. Is that possible? Can we go and pick one or two things?
Absolutely.
Well, it's not every day that a globally famous chef offers to cook your lunch. And as we make our way round looking for ingredients... They're so pretty, and they're edible, Raymond.
Yes, they are edible, absolutely.
The scale of what Raymond has created here is amazing.
There's the water gardens, the Japanese tea house gardens, the medicinal herb gardens, the micro herb gardens, the heritage gardens, a 2,500 strong orchard.
Not only is there a feast of mouth-watering produce on offer here, there's also a feast for the eyes, with stunning sculptures and works of art around every corner. All this walking's given me an appetite. I hope lunch is something substantial. So we're collecting produce, and we've got some lovely plumptious asparagus and fresh peas and lovely little finger courgettes. And we're going to get some carrots now.
Not just any kind of carrots.
Right.
They are not carrots. Yes,
Not carrots.
absolutely. So just lift a little bit those carrots.
Yeah. Oh, look.
Voilà. They're still very, very young.
Oh, they look yummy.
This is for you.
Okay, all right. It looks slightly soil-laden.
Oh, it's okay, a bit of soil, it's all good.
Oh, they're lovely. They always call me a carrot cruncher, so why not play it up? It's delicious, actually. Listen to that crunch. Well, that'll help me see in the dark. And what a treat to try some of Raymond's gorgeous food.
Okay, it will be delicious. I promise you, Pam, it's going to be a feast.
I
Okay?
believe
No less.
you. I know that. Coming up,
That's it.
I get to taste Raymond's celebrated cooking, but something gets lost in translation.
À votre santé.
I don't know what that means.
Okay.
I haven't got any French. And I come face to face with a rare portrait of Shakespeare himself.
It features one of only 2 images of Shakespeare that were produced within the lifetime of people who knew him.
This is what he actually looked like. Welcome back to the Cotswolds and beyond, as I continue my wonderful varied journey visiting amazing people and places. I've been invited to Raymond Blanc's magnificent country hotel and restaurant in the heart of Oxfordshire. This is a lovely garden. Look, it's all kind of wild with alliums. And look at this laburnum, deadly poisonous if you want to get rid of your husband, of course, but very beautiful nonetheless. While guests can luxuriate here, it's also a place to learn,
where trainee chefs and gardeners benefit from the knowledge Raymond has accrued over his extraordinary career.
How long do you need it so it's perfectly cooked? How long?
3-4 minutes.
Okay.
Well, as a real change from the simple food I usually eat, Raymond's cooking me a special dish derived from Le Manoir's own gardens.
We have our risotto. It looks beautiful, eh? Okay, so we've got our spinach here. We've got our little beautiful heads of asparagus, carrots, leaves, the life, the beauty, huh?
And while Raymond and his apprentice Kai are crafting my lunch, I'm going to explore this luxurious hotel. Well, you would, wouldn't you? As one of Britain's top boutique hotels, it's no wonder there are all manner of incredibly fancy rooms and suites, 32 to be precise. So it'll be lovely to have a proper look around.
Oh my, look at this. This is a room called Lemongrass. And the first thing that strikes me is the lovely fragrance of lemongrass. It smells really lovely and lemony, and I like flowers, so there are all these lovely lime-coloured flowers. Apparently, Raymond was telling me that it's inspired by his visit to Thailand, and you can see it's got a real Eastern feel about it. And I tell you what else I like. There's an aquarium there between this bedroom and the bathroom, and it's got proper fish in it, and one of those sucker fish. And you can see his tonsils. He's cleaning the glass, so he's doing a useful job.
Raymond's love of design and beautiful things is apparent in every detail of Le Manoir, from the bedrooms to the bathrooms.
There's a shower and steam room. There's a big shower overhead and then places to sit and get steamed. And it's certainly the biggest bathroom I've ever seen in my life.
Well, while I soak up the surroundings, the finishing touches are being added to my luscious lunch.
Bit of parmesan. Voilà. And you're going to have all of the garden in that risotto.
Yeah.
Stir that, mon petit. Voilà. Lovely textures. Look at these textures.
Green sauce down first.
A bit of green sauce, yes. Très bien, looks lovely. That's really a real celebration of summer. That's what it is. Looks beautiful, Muti. Thank you very much. Voilà.
Oh, thank you, Raymond. This is real 5-star treatment.
Okay, it's a beautiful wine for you.
Oh,
So
it looks gorgeous.
a little bit for the chef, eh?
Yes, absolutely.
What a treat. Now, time for the main attraction.
Le risotto aux légumes et herbes du jardin. For you, Pam.
I feel very honoured. Oh, it looks beautiful. Tell me about it.
This dish is really an expression of Le Manoir 4 Saisons, where vegetables play a huge part in our gastronomy. And you have here most of our gardens, very young first baby vegetables. Really baby, you're going to cry. Oh, yes.
Well, I'll cry after I've eaten it, Raymond.
I'm baffled. I don't know whether to eat it or paint it.
I feel very
So
conspicuous.
you have here, flavors which are delicate, very young,
Oh, it's lovely. It's really lovely.
So I pass the test, I'm okay. I'm all right.
You're all right. You're very all right.
Thank you.
It's absolutely lovely. The massive skill is that as soon as you put it in your mouth, you get this lovely burst of flavours. It's just what I would like to be able to cook if I was cleverer.
Pam, à votre santé.
I don't know what that means.
come
I
on.
haven't got any French.
À votre santé
Cheers.
means cheers. Voilà.
Your good
To your
health.
good health, of
Yes,
course,
that's
you
the
know.
most important thing.
She pretends she doesn't know, but she knows, really.
Spending time with Raymond was certainly magnifique. But it's time to say au revoir to French and turn to arguably the greatest writer of the English language in the world. I'm heading just north of the Cotswolds to the county of Warwickshire and the beautiful town of Stratford-upon-Avon. Known to most as the birthplace of the bard, William Shakespeare. Each Each year, millions of people from across the world flock here to celebrate his life and discover more about him.
To be or not to be? That is the question.
You can catch street performers, shop for souvenirs, or even visit the Tudor home where Shakespeare was born. And I've come here myself to investigate what all the fuss is about.
Friends, Romans, countrymen, lend me your ears.
Shakespeare achieved enormous success with his plays in the great theatres of Elizabethan London. But it's here in Stratford-upon-Avon where many of his real treasures still remain.
I am very fortunate because I am going to have a privileged peep at something very special indeed.
I'm meeting Ros Sklar from the Shakespeare Birthplace Trust to explore the strong rooms containing their world-famous library and archive collection.
Wow, it's like a bank vault. That is a substantial door.
It is.
This place safeguards all the rare and priceless artefacts related to William Shakespeare himself. And Ros has promised to show me something which is extra special.
What have we here? It looks very special indeed.
So this is what's generally known as the first folio, and it is the complete works of Shakespeare.
Gosh.
Yes. So this was published in 1623 after Shakespeare's death. It's compiled by his friends, John Hemmings and Henry Condell, and it claims to be the most accurate version of Shakespeare's work in print at the time.
Gosh, how amazing.
Of the 750 bound volumes known as First Folios, which were originally printed, around 235 have survived. And if you happen to have one on your bookshelf, lucky you, because the last one to sell at auction made over £7.5 million. And it's no surprise, really.
Without the first folio, we wouldn't have any evidence of 18 of Shakespeare's plays, including Macbeth and The Tempest.
Gosh, that's amazing. Just think I would never have had my opportunity to perform as the third witch in Macbeth and say double, double, toil and trouble with my teeth blacked out with eyebrow pencil. I shall never forget it. It was a great theatrical experience, not just for me, but for the entire audience.
I'm sure it was. The other reason why it's so important is because it features one of only 2 images of Shakespeare that were produced within the lifetime of people who knew him.
This is what he actually looked like.
Yes.
Extraordinary when you look at the intricacy of it. Almost nervous of touching it. I am, gosh. No, there's something profound about touching it when it was printed in 1623.
I know exactly what you mean.
Just extraordinary.
This is such an important document, so beautifully and painstakingly produced. And with its 16th century architecture and many proud tributes to its most famous son, Stratford is certainly a place with a rich history. So it's no wonder then that it attracts around 2.5 million visitors every year. They flock here to glide along the glorious River Avon, which meanders around the edge of town, and to pay their respects at Holy Trinity Church, where Shakespeare was baptised, married, and is now buried beside his wife, Anne Hathaway. Of course, many come to Stratford to watch one of his plays, performed here by the world-famous Royal Shakespeare Company. I'm meeting up with an actress who went from TV soaps to the RSC.
Hi, Pam.
Hello, Lucy. Oh, hello.
I feel like I need to curtsy.
It's so lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you as well.
Lucy Benjamin has been a regular fixture on our TV screens for decades, appearing in long-running shows like EastEnders. So I'm intrigued to discover how she's getting on.
Lucy, you're an actress who spent quite a lot of time in soaps, but now you're here at the RSC. I mean, that's a hell of a
It's a leap.
Yeah,
It's a leap, isn't it? I know, I keep pinching myself, Pam. I've never done Shakespeare before.
No,
I've
have
never
you not? I
studied
mean,
it.
you never studied Shakespeare?
No, I went to a theatre school that was more singing, dancing,
Dance,
music, all the
yeah,
jazz
yeah.
hands, you know, all that, Pam. So when my agent first called and said they want to audition you for the RSC, I was scared. I just said, oh, no, it's not for me, I can't do it. And I thought, I've got to take the plunge, I have to give it a go. And it's good that taking that risk pays off.
You must feel a great sense of achievement.
Yeah, massively.
I think Lucy was so brave to take that leap into the unknown, and I love her enthusiasm for Shakespeare.
Oh, Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo?
What would you say to somebody who says, oh, it's not for me, it's too difficult, it's too complicated, I don't understand what they're trying to convey?
You might not get every single word, but you will totally understand the story. And we can relate them to modern day stories.
Yes, yeah.
You know, be it politics or kitchen sink dramas, people are having affairs, you know, and it could be somebody, you know, it's a friend of yours and the next door neighbours, and the next thing, you know, it's all going on, you know.
Don't say that, Lucy.
Sorry, I'm lowering the tone of your programme, Pam.
Shakespeare said, all the world's a stage, and I think that's really true. His stories are our stories, and they're as recognisable today as they were over 400 years ago.
If you are going to be a Shakespearean performer, could there be any more perfect place to do it than here?
Oh, I think it's the only place to do it. I think being in Stratford-upon-Avon, Shakespeare's birthplace, it's all-consuming here. You live, breathe it, and, you know, performing it, this is the only place to do it. And it's my first time. It's the right place to have done it, totally, for me.
Coming up, I investigate the colourful history of an aristocratic Cotswold family.
Then you have Unity, who was an avowed Nazi and a close friend of Adolf Hitler. I mean, this family, you cannot make it up.
And we join a top wildlife cameraman for a festival of feathered friends.
Slimbridge has always been, to me, the Glastonbury of all wetland reserves.
I like that.
Everyone knows Glastonbury. Slimbridge is the one to go to.
Yeah.
The Cotswolds are enriched by some of the most wonderful stately homes in Britain. Some are huge palaces built for royalty or the grandest of aristocrats. But my next trip takes me to a majestic country house in the village of Astle in the heart of the Oxfordshire countryside.
The thing that interests us about these houses is what happens when the doors close. The thing that fascinates us is the contrast between the posh people upstairs who are being pampered and the poor people downstairs who are working. My granny, Ada, she used to work in a big house not far from here actually, and she used to have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to black the grate, which is a filthy, horrible job. It wasn't too grand for her.
Books about British high society always interest me, and perhaps some of the finest were written by the Cotswolds' own Nancy Mitford. Best known for her book The Pursuit of Love, she told tales of life as an aristocrat's daughter, inspired by the checkered and often scandalous antics of her 5 sisters.
Hello, Laura.
Hello, Pam.
I am very pleased to meet you.
Well, it's an honour, really.
Well, thank you very much.
Nancy lived here with her family in this Jacobean house called Astle Manor. And that's where I'm meeting Nancy's biographer, Laura Thompson, to discover more about the extraordinary lives the sisters led.
I must confess, I feel a complete duffer in your presence because you're an expert on the Mitfords, and I have muddled impressions.
Well, you have Nancy, who's their chronicler, if you like, the famous novelist Nancy Mitford, who wrote The Pursuit of Love, which is loosely autobiographical portrait of her family.
And Nancy certainly had some rich material to work with. The Mitfords seemed to span the social spectrum, from poultry farmers to landed gentry.
There's Pamela, who was a countrywoman and bred chickens, that kind of thing. And then you have Deborah, who became the Duchess of Devonshire and the Chatelaine of Chatsworth House. Her rebellion took the form of sort of being sane and, you know, just leading an extraordinarily successful life. She held on to Chatsworth and she made it the success that it is today.
But it was the three middle sisters who attracted all the interest and all the gossip.
And then you have Jessica, who became a communist and eloped to fight in the Spanish Civil War.
It was communism that attracted Jessica, but the other two were drawn to fascists.
Then you have Diana, who married Oswald Mosley, who was the head of the British Union of Fascists. She married him at Goebbels' house, and Hitler was there. And he gave them a lovely wedding present, which was a signed photograph of himself, which you would treasure.
Oh, it's a bit of an ego trip, isn't it?
Oh.
Her political views, as well as associating with Hitler and his henchmen, eventually led to Diana being jailed during World War II. And it was her big sister Nancy who actually informed on her.
One of the people who helped put her in there was Nancy. When she went to the authorities and denounced her as a dangerous person. So with this family, the political is always personal.
But Diana wasn't the only sister who admired the Nazi regime. As the threat of war loomed, younger sister Unity headed for the swastika-lined streets of one of Germany's biggest cities.
Unity went and set up in Munich in the mid-30s, and she sort of plonked herself at this restaurant and waited where Hitler had his lunch every day. And in the end, she did get to meet him. And she did become a friend of the Nazi high command. And then on the day that we declared war on Germany, she shot herself, put a bullet in her head. I mean, this family, you cannot make it up. You cannot make it up.
What a family.
What a family.
Embroiled in political scandal and with outrageous love lives, they were the subject of much interest. And it was this Cotswold house which played a big part in their story.
Why is Astle Manor so important?
I think Nancy's books. And it's really the breeding ground for Nancy's imagination. It's the breeding ground for all of them, for better or worse.
Yeah.
It's where it is really where they became the Mitfords.
Yeah.
Astle Manor is usually closed to the public, but today I'm meeting Rosie Pearson, the current owner, who bought the house in the mid-1990s.
Well, I must say it's the most beautiful setting. I was friends with somebody in a nearby village, and I was aware of this lovely house, but I never really understood what it meant in terms of its history.
The middle bit was 1633, but the two wings were both later than that. We're not sure of the exact dates, but this is possibly late 19th century, as late as that.
Okay.
This end here.
So it's all developed organically then, Rosie?
Yeah. Yes, it's a bit of a jumble.
Do you mind that people are so obsessed with the Mitfords and that it's your family home? Do you find that intrusive?
I think, actually, to be honest, it is less than you would think. We've only once or twice had sort of really obsessive people just sort of wandering in.
Astle has undergone quite a transformation since the Mitfords lived here.
It's so beautiful here, Rosie, and I just love all this cow parsley everywhere, which gives you a kind of mist.
Apart from the trees, there really was nothing. I mean, there was grass, it was wilderness, you know, maybe now you'd almost say it was wild. They'd been very reclusive, both the Mitfords and also the subsequent family that was here, so it didn't feel welcoming at all.
No.
You don't have to be a detective, though, to see that some guests are moving into Astle Manor. Every 2 years, Rosie holds a unique event featuring modern sculptures.
Probably the first sculpture exhibition, people came because of the Mitfords, and then since then, the battle has been, you know, can we become known for the things that we want to do instead of for the Mitfords? Because I think people are very worried with art that they have to understand it. Just feel it. We kind of love that sense of touch.
Astle Manor is very much a home. You can imagine the sisters laughing and playing here. Of course, they have long since been judged by history. What Rose is doing today is writing her own story, breathing fresh life and purpose into Astle. And I think that's quite right. Whether it's intriguing art or gorgeous gardens, this fabulous part of England has so much to offer. When it comes to the natural world, the Cotswolds and its surroundings have some marvellous places for spotting our wonderful British wildlife. One of those is Slimbridge Wetland Centre, which sits near the mouth of the River Severn in southwest Gloucestershire. This incredible 120-acre reserve was set up in 1946 by Sir Peter Scott, the son of the Antarctic explorer Captain Scott. For over the past 75 years, wildlife lovers have visited Slimbridge to marvel at the amazing variety of birds which call this place home. And today it's the turn of wildlife cameraman and self-proclaimed birder Hamza Yassin.
Birding is for everybody. You don't need the latest equipment, you don't need anything. In fact, the best thing to have when you're birding is a cup of tea and a window. It's cheap, it's cheerful, and if you know what you're looking for, it's like watching our soaps in the evening.
Sounds like Hamza's getting poised for a bit of drama. He's come to meet reserve manager Dave Painter, who's been looking after these wetlands for over 40 years.
How many people come to the reserve in a year?
Slimbridge, 250,000
Gosh.
each year. And it's not just our visitors, you know, we have a huge team of several hundred volunteers.
Yeah.
And of course, probably one of our more famous volunteers, or Peter's famous volunteer in the early days, was a young gentleman by the name of David Attenborough. He started off life as a volunteer here.
That's pretty cool.
As so many of the 30,000 water birds which winter here from across the world are rare and endangered, Slimbridge is a special haven in a very special place.
Oh, wow.
Well, this is really what Slimbridge is all about. It's a special kind of short, grassy salt marsh that's found just on the banks of the Severn here.
Yeah.
And it's really one of the reasons that Peter Scott came here. There was loads of birds around for him to come and see, and we're quite close to lots of people. That was one of the really big things for Peter Scott. He was the first person to realise that if conservation was going to work, you needed to get people involved.
He's an absolute hero of mine, Peter Scott. Slimbridge has always been, to me, the Glastonbury of all wetland reserves.
I like that.
Everyone knows Glastonbury, like Slimbridge is the one to go to.
Yeah.
And there are some pretty impressive headline acts making their comebacks too.
They are magnificent birds, aren't they?
Including my favourite delicate shorebird, the avocet.
Oh, look, there's another one.
Yeah, another one dropping in.
Avocets became extinct in Britain during the reign of Queen Victoria. But since the 1940s, and with all the advances in conservation, they're now once again happily nesting on our shores.
Being 5 foot diddly squat myself, I'd absolutely love to have feet like that. But I think I'd be unstable. I don't know how they can move around just like that.
Well, clever wading is just one of the avocet's many impressive feats. But Dave's real pride and joy are his common cranes.
Gosh, they are amazing.
Which before the 1970s had been extinct in the UK for the best part of 400 years. There are now more than 60 breeding pairs in the UK, and 6 of them live here at Slimbridge.
They're huge as well.
Cranes are Britain's tallest birds and can grow up to 5 feet, which, when you think about it, is huge for a bird.
This is a pair called Kia and Chocolo.
Oh, lovely.
They met as teenagers, paired up and have stayed together, but we've seen others that have swapped mates and lost mates and gone back to another one. So it is a bit of a soap opera.
Yes.
It's not quite as clear-cut as you might imagine.
Well, this all sounds a bit promiscuous to me, and enough to ruffle a few feathers.
Are you excited seeing them here?
Yeah, really excited, but nervous as well, you know.
Okay, why though?
I feel like an expectant father, you know, and most of the small birds, like the waders, are sort of rearing their chicks and they're fledging within a few weeks of vulnerability.
Yeah.
These have got months of it, and the big birds, they take a long time to get big enough to be able to fly.
There may well be a few sleepless months ahead, but with dedicated conservationists like Dave and Hamza leading the fight, I really hope these magnificent birds become a more common sight here.
It's phenomenal to see them, so I'm over the moon. So, yeah, thank you very much.
Great stuff.
I really
I'm glad to
appreciate
see
it.
them.
Yeah. Love them, love them.
Coming up, I'm clowning around at a Cotswold circus.
Yeah! Hooray! Did it! That's it. You're now a circus superstar.
And Raymond Blanc's mouth-watering kitchen garden is a source of inspiration to me. Quiet, please. Kindly don't impede my concentration. I am sitting in the garden thinking thoughts of propagation. Welcome back to the Cotswolds and beyond. So far on my travels, I've tasted the loveliest cuisine with Chef Raymond Blanc, learned more about Shakespeare,
Singing, dancing,
dance,
musical, jazz hands.
and discovered about some high society sisters.
Miss Barry, you cannot make it up.
And now the final part of my tour takes me to one of the Cotswolds' most beautiful stately homes, Sudley Castle near Winchcombe. Although there are all kinds of treasures to be found within these ancient castle walls, I'm looking for one in particular. A real jewel in the Cotswolds crown and something very close to my heart. Gifford Circus has been thrilling audiences in the Cotswolds and beyond for more than 20 years.
It makes me feel dizzy just looking at the guy spinning round. It is staggering. You just wonder how many years and years of practice has gone into it.
From high-wire acts to jugglers and tumblers, the circus puts on a new show every year.
It's a fantastic performance for everybody to come and see and marvel at.
And there's one colourful character I'm really excited to meet.
I'm looking now for Tweedy, who is the clown at Gifford Circus, and I absolutely love him because there's something so endearing about him and so clever, and I would be terribly disappointed if I came to the circus and Tweedy wasn't in it, so I'm going to go and see if I can find him. Hello, Tweety.
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
It's so nice to see you.
You too.
You're one of my very, very few heroes.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, you are.
Amazing.
How's the show going?
It's gone great.
Tweedy is Gifford Circus's longest-serving performer and something of a Cotswolds institution himself.
Tweedy, I absolutely love Gifford Circus. I'm your greatest fan, and I'd like you to tell me what makes it so special.
Well, there's a number of reasons. I think it has a theatrical element that a lot of shows don't have. It's got an intimacy, and I think it's a connection with the audience. I think everyone really feels a part of the show.
I've been to this big top dozens of times, but today I feel very honoured to be going behind the scenes on show day, which is quite a privilege.
Here we are, coming into the magical circus
Tweedy,
ring.
oh, it seems such an amazing thing for me to be, you know, here when I've only ever been in the audience. It's such a magical space, isn't it, where wonderful things are going to happen and people are going to be happy and full of laughter.
Yes, and with that cheeky smile, I fear he's got something up his sleeve.
As you're in the circus ring, I think you should do a little trick with me. Wait there, just one sec. I'll just get my hat. I got my hat. Now all you have to do, you're going to throw it like a frisbee, and I'll catch it on my head.
All right, then.
Here we go.
Right, ready?
Da-da-da. Oh. Too strong.
Oh, sorry,
Calm
Tweed.
down, calm down.
I'm so excited, Tweedy.
I'm not that far away.
Right.
OK, this time.
Ready? Yeah! Hooray!
Did it! That's it. You're now a circus superstar.
Oh, well, it's taken me all my life to do that, but
Yes.
I'm delighted.
I better go get ready.
OK, darling. Oh, it's been so nice spending some time with you. And I'll see you in the performance. I can't wait.
See you later.
Yeah, bye-bye. Oh, I do love him. I do.
More than 1 million visitors have enjoyed countless spectacular shows in the Big Top here over the years. And as the crowds gather to take their seats for today's performance, Tweedy's ready to make them smile all over again.
It's so nice to be back. I've come here every year for about 20 years. It's just a very special place to me. I used to bring my children, and now I bring my grandchildren. So, you know, we go back a long way.
And there's nothing quite like showtime, as all the amazing acts take centre stage. From awe-inspiring acrobats to hair-raising high-wire performers and moments of magic. How did she do that? And let's not forget our wonderful clown. Oh dear, I hope Tweedy realises his guitar's on fire. Well, attractive as it seems, I've probably left it a bit too late to run away to the circus. So perhaps I'll just go back and take inspiration from Raymond Blanc's wonderful garden and grow some lovely, tasty vegetables instead.
Quiet, please. Kindly don't impede my concentration. I am sitting in the garden thinking thoughts of propagation, of sowing and of nurturing the fruits my work will bear, and the place won't know what's hit it once I get up from my chair. I'm at the planning stages now, if you should need to ask. And if I'm looking weary, it's the rigours of the task. Well, the creation of a garden is a strain, as you can guess, so if my eyes should close, it isn't sleep, of course, it's stress. Oh, the mower I will cherish, and the tools that I will oil, the dark, nutritious compost I will stroke into the soil. My sacrifice, devotion, and heroic aftercare will leave you green with envy once I get up from my chair. The branches I shall layer, and the cuttings I shall take. Let other fellas dig a pond, I shall dig a lake. My garden, what a showpiece. There'll be pilgrims come to stare, and I'll bow and take the credit once I get up from my chair.
And next Friday at 8, Susan Calman's our guide as she takes to the road again in her trusty camper, Helen, in a new series of Grandies Out. Next tonight, a villa that's been home to Roman emperors. Napoleon even had a mini break there. Bethany Hughes is blown away on Lake Como as her brand new Paris to Rome adventure continues.